Hey everyone, my name is Matthew Stensrud, or Mr. S, and welcome back to my general music classroom. Today, we're talking about the Nutcracker March. I have 2 lessons for the march for us to explore, so make sure you stay for both of them. Also, if you haven't yet, check out my lesson on the trepak, because the trepak is usually the first dance that I teach my students. Now, the Nutcracker March is near the beginning of the ballet during the party scene, where there's lots of merriment and dancing and games for both children and parents. In my classroom, I first explore the march with some creative movement. The march is in an A, B, A, C, A, B, A form. Let's look at the A section. For the A section, we can become soldiers or puppets. First, we march like soldiers. Stiff legs, stiff arms. Da 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 da. We freeze for the next part and don't move at all. And then we do it again. Da 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 da. While I'm exploring this with my students, I never need to use any words. I simply use my sounds, or if I'm ready, to add the music. When I'm still, I freeze, and my students know to freeze as well. First, try this in self-space, where our students pick their own place in the room, and then see if they can begin to move around the room using their locomotor movements. The second part of the A part looks like this. We become puppets, loose arms and loose legs. We wait while the soldiers move. It's pretty fun to see what kind of puppets your students will become. Not to mention I kind of like it too. That is our A section. So let's look a little bit at the B section. The B section also begins with the soldiers marching. Bum, 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 bum. Instead, though, we have little mice that are next. The mice might look a little bit like this. Little movements, nice and light. Perhaps when they're ready to move, when we can use all the space. Then back to our march with our soldier. Bum, 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 bum. This last part is a little bit tricky because ideally I'd like to get to a place where my soldiers and my mice and my puppets can move. But at first, I simply have all of them freeze. And that's the B section. Let's head to the C section. The C section, because the mice haven't had a lot of chances yet, this is their time to shine. The mice get the entire C section to themselves to scurry and creep about the space. Dun 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 dun. You get the idea. When I teach this to my students, I do each character individually, the entire way through the song. Not only does that help us get acquainted with the piece as well as the form, but then we can explore the soldier and the puppet and the mouse. Slowly, we can then take the soldier and the puppet and split the class in half. Trade places so you get a chance to be both, and then add the mouse in finally and split the class into thirds, and make sure you give students a chance to explore all 3. That is my first lesson on the Nutcracker March. Make sure you click the link below if you'd like to see my 2nd graders in action doing the lesson. That'll help explain it when it fully comes together with all 3 characters. Now, for our 2nd lesson. Our 2nd lesson uses, you guessed it, the Stretchy band. And who doesn't love a Stretchy band? The Stretchy band can be a lot of fun for students to also help with their movements, but have a way to work as a community, because each student has to work together with one another for the Stretchy Band to be successful. Now, for the A section of the march, we start in a similar way where we march. I have the students always do this first without the Stretchy Band before we add it. We'd make a circle in the room and we would march, following each other in the circle marching. Then we add the Stretchy Band with one hand. Notice my palm is on top, never underneath when I march. One hand marches, staying respectful, the other hand becomes our soldier. Bum, 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 bum. Next, take the Stretchy Band with both hands and move nice and low and little. Back to the march. Bum, 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 bum. And that is our A section. For our B section, it starts with the march again, much like the first lesson. Bum, 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 bum. This part is extra light that comes up next, so we get really low and make small movements. Next, da, 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 lift it up toward the sky. Then we can do a little bit more of a shake. Dun, 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 dun. Sometimes we even add little jumps, and that's pretty fun for the students, as you can imagine. But those are all things we slowly scaffold into our lesson. Finally, for the C section, I know that some people simply hold it up and call out colors. That can be fun, but let's take it to a new level with this lesson. Instead, I call out a color and a movement word. Usually I pick a movement word that connects with the mouse. That color then uses that movement word throughout. They weave inside the circle, we weave outside the circle, in and around other people. Eventually, they'll tap someone else in the circle and take their place. You never know when I might call out a new movement word, and then everyone who's moving has to change to that. The one thing to be prepared for is that usually by the end of the C section, not everyone has had a chance. So make sure you do the march a few times and you call out different colors so each student has a chance to explore the movement in the middle. These are my 2 lessons to the Nutcracker March. For the Stretchy Band lesson, make sure that you come back to see the video of my students in action with that as well, or click the link below so you can see it too. As always, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can see my next lesson, because we'll be exploring the Nutcracker Chinese dance next. Thanks everyone!